you looking for valuable business advice to reach that 7-figure revenue mark? Do you want actionable tips to properly navigate through every business challenge you encounter along the way? Let Tersh Blissett and Josh Crouch be your guide in getting you to the top here at Service Business Mastery. Tune in as they sit down with world-renowned authors in business, leadership, and personal growth who share valuable insights about management, marketing, pricing, human resources, and so much more. Let their nuggets of wisdom gold guide you in owning a thriving, profitable, and ever-growing business. Here are your hosts, Tersh and Josh.
Welcome back to another episode here at the Women in HVACr.
You almost did it.
No, I was looking at you. The Women in HVACr 2022, they're celebrating 20 years of women in the trades, which yesterday when they opened up, we realized that there's been women here a lot longer than 20 years. Mm-hmm. It's just 20 years of celebrating them and having a place for women to come together. And
the gala was amazing last night, by the way.
It was.
It was really good and honoring
cool to see the industry, like just. You think trades, you think you just like, you get the whole blue collar thing.
Branded t-shirts and baseball hats.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
exactly.
You see everyone all dressed up, and you see the amazing, just everything was well thought out. This event.
It's planned by women.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
could
this
tell.
event has been like.
You can tell the difference in events.
They have every time you go into a room and something says it's going to start this time. There's a countdown timer on the screen. And it is like dialed in.
I mean, not for nothing, we've been running early most of this time, I think. Because I keep looking at the agenda and I'm like, what do you mean I haven't missed it? But that already happened.
Mm-hmm.
But so this episode, we're joined with Sarah Ghirardo, who's been on the podcast before, and Lauren Bates.
You did it.
Shoot, I almost forgot.
You did it.
You did forget.
These ladies have some wonderful experience in trade. They have been all different aspects of the trades. They're both part of Lady Titans. They both work at contracting businesses. They've been through some acquisition stuff. Sarah works on the software side now. She travels literally all over the country.
All the time.
So these ladies have been there, done it, and we've already had some interesting discussions offline. But welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
You.
Again.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and then we'll talk with Sarah.
Sure. So I actually fell into this industry. I feel like people fall into one or two categories. It's either the born in the trades, built for the trades, or the where am I
Mm-hmm.
and how did I get here? And that's me. My background is actually in like dance and dance education, and my schooling was going to be to open my own dance studio. And
that's cool.
Were you the person
I
I
did.
saw by the stages?
I wasn't.
Oh.
No,
I was like,
no,
on
that
the
is
stilts?
Any of her moves.
No.
Like,
I see
No.
somebody on stilts.
no, that was me. No, that wasn't me.
They did it like a split up, and it was like almost touched the ceiling, and it's like
I
30-foot
missed this.
ceilings.
Where was I?
We were at the photo booth most of the time.
Yeah.
I do have
the
an
problem.
absurd amount of photos.
That's
Absurd. Like
hilarious.
no one
Like
was in
that.
line, and so I was like, let's just do a photo shoot. for
You,
ourselves.
I know you. Get
30
up here.
photos later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're a
That's
sucker for a prop, I think.
I
So.
love props.
Yeah. So, and then I left school and I got, a job in a call center and had a couple babies. And before I knew it, I was general manager of a boutique retail store that fit people for foot shoes, Boston Ballet, everything like that. We had a online web store, drop shipping, physical brick and mortar store. So, my background right before I came into this industry was retail store management. And I decided I wanted a job where I could punch in and punch out and not have to take work home with me and not be responsible for other people and kind of focus on my family life for a little bit and find my footing in that part of my life again. And so I just started to apply to every customer service job I could find. And the company I work for now called me and hired me as a CSR. And, it felt like a step back at the time career-wise in terms of pay, in terms of responsibility, but that was that whole self-care thing and making, you can't do everything 100%. It's just physically impossible. So, but anyone that has leadership potential kind of find your way back into that space, whether you like it or not. And so through the evolution of that company and through some changes that happened there, I grew into, more of a leadership role among the dispatching team and the office team, and then eventually operations manager, HR, payroll,
Oh,
you guys stay on this
yeah.
podcast, all shit rolls uphill, not downhill. So it's like whoever
true.
calls out, it's on you. Whoever doesn't show up, it's on you. So but I love it. I think if you had told 16-year-old me that I'd be working at a plumbing and HVAC company, I would be like, absolutely, like that will never happen. And now I don't know that I'll leave because I love it and I love the people that I've met and I love the opportunity that still exists, kind of under the surface of everything else that's going on. That's me.
And she's one of the
Period.
founders
End
of
of
Lady
sentence.
Titans.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. I thought you were a founder too.
How long ago was that? Because we just talked to Jessica.
Yeah, so
Um,
it's been about 2.5 years because I've been at Service Titan for 2.5, and it was literally the first week I started, and they all
August
started
was 2
tagging
years.
me in.
Yeah. Well, August was 2 years since the Facebook post, so that's kind of what we consider like
Mother,
Founders Day. It's officially
No,
November.
So we're going with the Facebook official.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
your Facebook.
Yes. Yes.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was 2-ish years.
So
And what is Lady Titans for anyone that hasn't heard of it? What is
You go.
Go for it.
It's been my voice the whole time.
It's okay, go for it.
So,
They hear me all the time.
we
They're
did,
fine.
we did.
So Lady Titans start to just tell this story already or no?
No,
Okay,
no.
so-
She was waiting for
She
you.
wanted,
Tell the fun story.
Okay, so the fun story is, my company uses Service Titan, and Service Titan has a public Facebook group where you can post questions and advice and, in search of type stuff. And you start to see the same names popping in and out of all the comment sections, asking questions, answering questions, and you start to really get a feel for who knows their ass from their elbow, so to speak, and then you start to direct message these people because you're like, I'm not going to post it. I already know Jess has the answer. Or, I'm not going to post it. I already know Stacy has the answer. So then you start setting up private Zoom calls with each other to just kind of hash stuff out and figure out how the buttons work and the different ways to set things up. And then you start texting with each other, and then you start talking about your families, and that's networking, just kind of in a nutshell. And so then after a few months of kind of us building that relationship among the three of us, I posted on Facebook saying, hey, Service Titan, it would be really super cool if you could get Stacy, who lives in Oklahoma, up to Massachusetts where Jess and I are. So we can have kind of a girl power, figure out how to iron out the wrinkles in all our own businesses. We all have strengths and weaknesses that we can build off of. And Vahey commented on it and was like, cool,
Yeah,
that
that's cool.
sounds awesome. Here's a couple little requirements. Keep it positive. We have to be safe with COVID because, again, this was 2 years ago. So we were in the middle of only being able to do Zoom stuff and, just help people optimize the way that they're running their business through our software. And here we are 2 years later with 1,300 plus members. And we talk about everything from, software specific operational stuff, but also boundary setting, goal setting, having difficult conversations, advocating for yourself, having people's backs, and how to bring up things like when someone says, "Does that make sense?" And it might not feel good to the person that you're asking if it makes sense. So
it's an inside
everything
joke
in
at this
between.
point. Yeah,
Yeah.
we had a little pre-session that.
I like to say, does that make sense? Not like condescending. Like I tell people, I speak like lunatic sometimes.
Well,
you
sometimes-
have. I've talked to you plenty of times. You have to say that because I have no idea what you're talking about most of the time.
Right.
Well, we
And I
said
just
this whole
say it.
week that her spirit animal is a squirrel.
I
and
just-
she's just so fast.
I just
so,
look at Sarah. I'm like,
Yeah.
Like
okay.
if you could stop
Dial
asking
it
me
back
questions,
one-
that would be great.
Yeah, I was going to ask some more questions, but I'll let Sarah talk first. And we'll probably have to put this in like speed 0.5.
She's good at that.
I'm Sarah.
Does that make
I
sense?
like marketing, and sometimes I talk about it too much.
She likes math.
I like math. No, I.
So you currently are with Service Titan and part of the Lady Titans, and but before that you were working with a contractor, correct?
Mhm.
And what was your role there?
I was a director of digital marketing.
What all did that involve? Like,
Everything.
so, and were you hired on as that position, or?
I was hired on as the marketing manager.
Mhm.
And there was another person that worked with me as well. And then I grew into the director role.
Now, was that your first marketing position that you had, or?
No, I have a degree in marketing and So I worked with an agency before, and then I ran a large call center
Okay.
for an alcohol company with 177 retail stores.
Oh goodness, that's a little tiny
It's
thing.
actually a really good experience to tie the call center with marketing, as you know,
It is.
because that is like
That's
usually the biggest leads come in and then they can drop off so quick.
because
you don't have-
a good team. Yeah. But alcohol was easy to sell, right?
Right.
Like I had no
Everybody
problem
sells
selling
itself,
alcohol,
really.
Right.
You don't have to sell that.
Right.
Yeah.
They call me, they're like,
HVAC, plumbing, a little different.
right. Right. So yeah, that's me. I just work at Service Titan, make some email and direct mail templates.
And
That's where
travel the
I'm
world
making
the whole like all year long. Every event that I go to, Sarah's there, and then she's at all the events that Josh is at. It's like Sarah, I'm at an event, and Josh is at, and then we're like at the same event at the same time, and like I'll send him a selfie of me and Sarah, and then he instantly sends me a selfie back with him and Sarah, and I'm like, no, literally, I just took that picture, and then he's like, no, literally, I just took that
She's like a
picture.
whack-a-mole. She just kind of pops up. You don't know where she's going to be. And if you don't hit her fast, you're going to miss her.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
surprised you know what day it is, honestly, because I don't even know what
I
time
didn't-
zone it is.
I didn't know what it was. I called my mom actually. She was like, "It's Friday," and I was like, "Oh, am I leaving tomorrow?" She's like, "You're leaving tomorrow. Set your alarm. Check into your phone." Yeah. she's
So-
my best friend.
So, what is your what's the biggest pain point that you've seen in the industry? Because you're running the business and you've gone through the marketing side. So, just as a contractor who might be listening to this, what's a pain point that you've experienced, and how did you go through it, or going through it? Brandon?
My answer is a little cliche and it's kind of woo-woo, but it's mindset, and that's non-gendered. I think the mindset on the male side, from my perspective and through my experience, is we've always done it this way. We have the answer.
Oh, yeah.
This is just how it's done. And those are limiting beliefs that really get in the way of your own growth. And on the female side, I think the limiting mindset is the imposter syndrome thing and feeling like you have to earn the street cred to be the one running the technician meeting.
I wish you would have told me this before. My shirt literally says "Mindset is everything today," and
Yeah.
I put a sweatshirt on right before.
Oh man.
Well,
we
It
know
would have been a
it's
great. It would have been a great
lost
quote.
opportunity, I guess. But then it would have looked like I stole your answer.
That's
So
true.
Yeah.
yeah.
like, you're like, oh,
See?
mindset.
Yeah. No, so I think for women it's feeling like you have enough to say or the right things to say or that people are looking at you going, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Oh yeah, that really makes sense.
It's our subject, I guess.
Yeah.
Not for me. No, it. But honestly, whenever I first started the podcast, I really dealt with imposter syndrome because, I first off was $4 million company, and then I wanted to start another company, and it was like, but the people that are listening to this, there's one person I know for a fact has a $150 million company, and they reached out to me and said, hey, I need your advice on something. I was like, nah, bro, I need your advice. You're asking the wrong person. I totally have imposter syndrome when it comes to that situation. And I understand that feeling. And I can kind of put myself in that same situation as a lady that maybe hasn't earned the street cred yet, quote unquote, and they're going in to lead the technician meeting and the intimidation factors there. So here's my belief is that a service manager comes from a really great dispatcher. And so a lot of times our really great dispatchers are typically females. And then a lot of times the people who lead the service technician meetings are females, or because they were dispatchers, they become service managers, and so they're in turn females. So that intimidation factor is just like a natural thing there almost, I feel like. And you're right. I mean,
Well, I feel like
get
there's
out of your own
pieces
way.
to every job, right? There's the technical aspect, whether you are a technician in a truck, or the technical aspect of how to run a podcast and what buttons to click on whatever it is you guys got going on over there, or how to use Service Titan or any other software, right? But then there's also the people stuff.
Yeah.
And I think companies pull service managers from either like a really great dispatcher who's great at optimizing the schedule and maximizing capacity. But if you're not looking at it through that lens, I think the default move is to pull your best technician and put them in a truck.
But
these
that
guys-
takes
about
that
that
takes
on
your
the show.
number one revenue generator out of the field to do a job they have no clue how to
They've
do.
never been trained on
But
that.
really, that
They-
job
they-
is not actually being the technician. The job
No.
is managing the people that are the technicians.
Well,
Just
they
can't
because you're great at doing something doesn't mean you're great at managing other people who
But
Well,
it's not just the
yeah.
trades, it's every company out there. They
100%.
hire within and they don't provide leadership training or
Or a path to
management
something
training
else,
or
right.
things like that. How do you become a manager? How do you do these things? It's an opportunity for businesses in general. So it's not just the trades.
No, and I
Like,
think the
I've
first
seen it
opportunity
everywhere.
is identifying what a manager actually is, because it's not doing the best of its past.
No,
It's
and
about
that's so
empowering
fun.
other people. There is a difference between manager and leader, and you have to figure out which one you want and what the job description is for each of those, because they look very different.
That's a rabbit hole we could dive in for
But I
sure.
think it's always about people. And I think that you need to understand as a leader and a manager that no matter what, it's going to come down to the people. And so you need to learn how to be a people person at that level.
Mhm.
And you need to train to be a people person. And not like, like fake people person, but like you're going to have real problems coming to you. Like
Mhm.
serious problems. And
That's why
you need to
I
learn how to
hire
deal with it.
managers and leaders, because I'm not a people person. So
Yeah.
like I hate people in general.
Some
So
are.
But you can't be great at everything, right? Like, you
exactly,
need a
I'm
team
really
of
good
people
at
that are great
podcasting and
individual
horrible at
things.
people.
Right.
That's it.
But that's great to admit to yourself. Horrible at people. I'm horrible at people.
I don't know. Everybody
Absolutely.
that's seen her seems to love him. So I don't believe
It's the
that for a
shoes, I
second.
think.
It's the
It draws
shoes.
people in.
Probably the shoot and the fact that my tie and my pockets were a match.
It is all of that.
So what about you? What's the biggest pain point that you've seen, either personally or in the industry, and how did you get it resolved?
I think that again, I really think that it does start with mindset. You're right. But it's mainly
Good job,
the
Sarah. You stole
I
Lauren.
stole it. I know. But it's the imposter syndrome that I want to continue to talk about because everybody has it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's fear. Like,
And
you
as
allow
soon as you
fear
get to that
control our
next
lives.
level, almost, I feel like, and sorry for cutting you off there, Sarah. But as soon as we get to that next level, it's like you have these different walls. Like you got a 1 million and a 5 million and 10, and as soon as we get to that wall, we're like, yeah, like I feel like I'm not supposed to be here. Like, what do I do next?
Or what are you supposed to do?
Mhm.
Or like, why do people know me? Like,
Well, and that advice that you want to surround yourself with people that are more successful than you. But the second, so if you're the most successful person in the room, then it's like, okay, time to change the room, right? But
Yeah.
now you're walking in, and then you're like, oh,
I don't know.
Really
where
small.
am
I
I?
have no idea.
Yeah,
what I'm doing.
but if you've done it once before, then it becomes muscle memory, and it does get easier. But I think those first couple rooms you walk in where you're trying to elevate yourself, but you're still the bottom, and trying to work your way up again is what is the hard part.
I
I think
think there's fear. I think everyone has fear,
Oh,
and they have to understand like this is just a moment of fear, and I have to break through it, right, and be courageous and bold. But it's hard,
Mhm.
even in like my job, it's hard.
For me, I feel like if I could stress this with anybody, you can drink on it. If there's anything
Now,
that I could
sounds like my
stress,
biggest pet peeve, so I don't want anyone to listen to like swallowing. Stuff. Yeah.
so if there's anything that I can stress, it's the fact that understand that everybody in that room that you're going into, like you're the smallest person, you're the smallest guy in that room,
Literally, I'm
smallest
the
gal.
smallest person.
Yeah.
Like
I
physically
love.
small.
Is that why you looked at Sarah
The
when you said
photo that I seen with Sarah next to Matt Tyner at that presentation, I was like, that is awesome. But just understand that every other owner, manager, whatever that's in that room, they've been there too, like where you're at, and they are 99% of the time they're more than willing to answer whatever question you might have. It might even help refresh memories. They're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Like, let me tell you exactly what happened with me and how I got through that. And that's our whole goal for this year's. I mean, we want 53 episodes of like just shows where people who they share a pain point that they have, and then how they've gone through it, or maybe they're going through it currently. And I wanted to do 56, but
The numbers seem really.
It's like baker's dozen, but for wheats, right?
exactly.
I got your back.
Right there. She's right there. Josh, thanks, Josh.
So
Where's
you
the
were
mute
committed
button
to
at? Come here.
56 contests, is what we're saying?
Yeah,
We
we've
just wrote it down and spoke it into existence. So
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
we're
there.
on 56.
It's there.
Well, we come to these events and then we get such backlog. So and we have such great content. We want to get it out, but then if we do lives every week,
yeah.
now it's like, okay, we gotta get that one done, and we got all this great
So we
stuff.
could just repurpose it because some people.
Oh, don't even-
you're-
Marketing?
Yeah,
Stop it.
Like you start
Any
talking
advice for
marketing.
that, Sarah?
but
Yeah. Yeah, actually,
boy.
share a
All
little
right,
bit about
the rest
this.
of us are going to go get a coffee break. Sarah will come back and we'll come back.
So
in 20
repurposing
minutes.
content. So here's the thing that with podcasts
I'm
in
never
general.
talking about marketing again.
That's a lie, and we all know it.
Yes.
So repurposing content. If you're a contractor, like, should you start a podcast? If so, like, what could you even do with the content that you have on the podcast? Like, what's your thought?
Yeah, I think that you can start a podcast, and I would suggest starting a podcast because everybody has podcasts, and it's a new way to think. But I would bring in the community, and I would bring in local businesses, and I would be like, hey, what's it like to be a business owner? Because I'm one, and we all go through the growing pains, the opportunities,
And that's evergreen content that business owner is going to share.
exactly, because it's backlinks. Like you share it and keep sharing it, and then you have your Chamber of Commerce and see what they're doing, and you become more active.
You right up my alley.
It's networking.
It's networking.
It's people.
And
It
It's
turns out.
networking on steroids.
Yeah,
really.
right.
It's amplifying it.
And
Right.
and podcasting is the new blogs.
It
So-
is, and it's not. And there's easy ways to repurpose your content, right? Like Facebook. I mean, how many people are going to see this? Because it could be drowned in your feed
Yeah.
by the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you can take it and just keep repurposing, take clips from it,
Yeah.
and then repurpose it throughout the entire year. There's no point. We
That
think
seems like a lot of work.
there's repurpose.io, which is really cool. But no, I mean, like one piece of content can be distributed 21 different ways.
Where?
That's all I'm
Let me
gonna
write
say.
it
I'm not
down.
going to talk about
Okay. She's done.
That will be a whole.
I know, it will be.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're running up on our time limit, but is there any other questions that you have? Because I literally could talk to these ladies all day. We have talked days.
No, we calmed them. They came in here and they're fired up. They were
We're
fired
pretty
up.
hot.
I don't
was-
know where you guys came from.
They were
but
feisty when they walked in the
fired
store.
up.
That was
We
exciting.
actually should have just started with.
What stays in the ballroom? No, what happens in the ballroom stays in the ballroom? Yeah.
Okay.
It was a book.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
we're-
it wasn't recorded.
It was a book signing, and she brought up great points, right? Like about how do you negotiate salaries, how do you talk about the hard
How do you
conversations.
address the elephant in the room?
Which
and
is?
meet her, like gender pay gap was a big piece
Okay.
of it, and how to
And this was
ask-
the breakout you guys just came from.
No, it was the keynote speaker this morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, and it was incredible. She talked a little bit about it, and I heard actually about it in the conflict management breakout yesterday about how different words mean different things to different genders just based on the way it's wired. So-
Explain that, because
So,
you
no, this
said
was-
different words mean different things. Like same words mean different
Same
things.
words mean different things.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
So he asked in the very beginning what the word conflict meant. And in a room full of women, a lot of the answers being shot out were things like perspective, misunderstanding, opportunity for.
Yeah, throwing bows.
Yeah, so bingo, right? So we're talking about ways to talk to each other and disagreements and stuff like that. And he goes, okay, well, when you ask a room full of men what the word conflict means, the words they shout out most often are war, fight. You know, they're a lot more
That's what-
dangerous
that's what
and
came to my
aggressive.
head.
So that's what it
Instantly.
is, right? So it's knowing who your audience is and what you're marketing to is important. So if I'm asking a male boss for a raise versus a female boss for a raise, I might say one word that hits different depending on who's hearing it. So it's just interesting to
But it's like you have to educate yourself.
Constantly.
Yeah.
You're constantly learning.
well, every
Yeah, I'm
conversation
tired
is
of
a sales
learning.
conversation.
Dang, you are not tired of learning.
Sometimes it does get exhausting. Being an
But
adult. it's
really,
like, why am I
There's
at
so
this
much to
level?
learn. And if you just keep asking why, you like exhaust yourself. But it's something.
It's like a little kid.
It literally, it's like the.
my son is at this age, Memphis. He's at this age where he it's not that he's a jerk about it, because he's also a jerk too, but he'll ask you why. But Dad, why? What? So why is it that you want that color car? Because I am working on building this like retro Mercedes car, and he's like, why do you want triple black? And why exactly do you want black outside, black leather seats, and black wheels? Like, why is it that? I'm like, son, I really, really do not ever want you to stop asking why, except in the situation.
Yes.
Like, please just stop.
Mhm.
But the rest of the time, keep asking why. Just
Yes.
be diligent in asking why, because that's how you're going to be the smartest person ever. And but just stop for right now, because I'm really doing something else. And that's Memphis. And then Memphis is like, okay. And then about 2 hours later, he's like, all right, Dad,
Is
I'm
now
back.
your
I'm
time
back.
yet?
I'm back. Let's have this conversation. So he's a cool kid, though. Yeah, I appreciate y'all, honestly. And if there's anything that we can ever do to share y'all's content and anything, just don't hesitate to.
Well, can I do a shameless plug for how to join Lady Titans?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's, so servicetitan.com / some kind of slash, whichever way it goes, Lady Titans.
Showing my face.
Yes, yeah, there you go. It'll bring you to a registration page that may or may not, once you fill it out, land you on what looks like an error page. It's not, you'll get an email confirmation that has a couple links. We do 2 monthly meetings. One is more structured. We have usually a speaker and a PowerPoint, and we talk about a specific topic. And then we have another one that's called the Lady Titans Lounge, where we all just jump on Zoom together and eat lunch and chat. People ask questions about whatever they're trying to solve, or something that came up, or talk about something great that happened, and we literally just hang out together. And we've done book clubs, and we have our own Facebook group that you can join. There's a community on through Service Titan that you don't have to be a Service Titan user to participate in. It's a store, so there's all kinds of sweatshirts and T-shirts and stickers and all kinds of stuff. So
And
check
mugs.
us out in all the places.
We have mugs too.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, we have mugs.
That's how you know you've made it, right? Once it's a
Once
mug.
you got a
It's on
mug,
It's really bad, yeah.
it's real. It's
Yeah.
happening.
Right.
That's hilarious. I will tell you that Julie's been on the calls, and there's times where she's like, "Hey, Church, come check this out. Like what they're talking about." And then there's other times like I'm in her office, and I'm like, "Yeah, exit stage right. This is not
She
my
was telling us about
conversation.
that.
Yeah, this
And I
is
was like,
not
oh.
my conversation right now." So cool. Well, I sincerely appreciate y'all and everything that y'all are doing for the trades, and for those who obviously. I mean,
Well,
have
and
the
not
imposter
just
syndrome
as
and
women, but just
in general, yeah.
Trades, because you guys are phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
you guys do a great job just helping grow the trades and help further people.
Well, thank you for having us.
Lauren.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Service Business Mastery. Now that you are equipped with essential business advice from this impactful conversation, you are one step closer to becoming the successful owner of your dreams. If this episode has been helpful to your business journey, don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a rating, and share it with other owners as well. Visit servicebusinessmastery.com to learn more.